Welcome to This Week in Missouri Politics from the Missouri State Fair, the happiest midway in the state right now. We are joined by the 57th governor of the great state of Missouri, Governor Parson. Thank you so much for the time.
Oh, great to be here, Scott. What a great setting to have it here at the State Fair.
So this week was your last ham breakfast as governor. I don't care who you are, what your politics are. It had to be moving to see the outpouring of love and support from this state for you this week.
Oh my gosh, you know, this is kind of my roots where I come, and then you have a packed house today, and it was just an honor, just humble to be up there and speak at the people for the last time, and I wanted to know how much I appreciated them. I know they were there for me, but it was just important to me to go back and tell them all thanks and for everything we've been through.
I remember your first one as governor. Been a while now, but it was this wonderful outpouring of support. But today it was almost a little bittersweet. You had folks crying. You put on that stem winder. It felt like a lot of folks wanted to show their appreciation for you in reverse.
They did. So many kind people come up to me and talk to me afterwards and so much they appreciate the job I done. And you know, all you can do as governor is you go in there and you try to keep the state on the right track. You work hard and try to make sure you put people first. And I think there was so many people today recognized that and come up to me and spoke to me. So it was a fun day. It was a great day. It was a great way to end my ham breakfast as governor of the state of Missouri.
So let's look back on last week. I mean, what an amazing week for the state of Missouri, but what an amazing week for you. The person you picked to be lieutenant governor won re-election and was elected to be your successor on the Republican side. It had to feel good. Even the attacks that came at both of you, trying to tie him for you, worked out very well. I mean, the guy came through with a huge win.
Look, Tuesday was a big night for me. There's no question about it because the three people I picked for statewide office holders all won. So it's really telling people who we are, what it really means to us in the state, and what our core values are. And I think the perfect thing that I thought all along, I didn't think people were going to let the East Coast people try to run the state of Missouri.
Boy, they came in and came hard, didn't they?
They come hard, but, you know, they went home with their tail tucked between their legs, too, I can tell you that much. So all three of those are going to be great leaders for the future of Missouri. When I leave the governorship, after appointing 5 statewide office holders, I feel like we've made the bench. This is the bench for the future of Missouri. And to me, that's what will be important. And I know all of them are capable of leading the state.
Tell folks that may not know about Mike Kehoe. Why did you pick him to be lieutenant governor? Why did you endorse him?
Yeah, you know, first of all, I picked him lieutenant governor is because I knew he'd work hard and I knew he was a businessman. Yeah. I knew what it was like to write the back of a check or the front of a check. And I knew he worked hard. He had an agriculture background, had a business background. And state government's big business. Yeah. It's not anymore about how well people like you. It's about when you get the job, you got to run the place.
Yep.
And he has that expertise to do that. And I think the other thing, he just come from a humble beginning, just like I did. And I think he wears that on his sleeves every day. And I think people chose him to lead this state. And
it had to make you feel good how hard he worked for it. I mean, he took that bus to every corner of this state.
Well, you know, they always say, I'm thinking, when it was the Mike Kehoe campaign, I think they may be working a little harder than what I worked when I went out there to be able to do it. But at the end of the day, you know, people ask me all the time, why do I endorse somebody? Why do I endorse somebody? Look, I asked them guys to give up their lives to come help me run the state. And every one of them did. So it was an easy endorsement for me. I'm a loyal person. I take care of my friends, and I take care of the people that come to help me. And that's why I did those things. And I knew they were right for the job.
Tell folks about Andrew Bailey. I mean, he's been Attorney General for a year and a half. My goodness, he was endorsed by this state in a big way last week.
Oh, my gosh. That was a huge win, Andrew winning. And, again, sending a message to some of the East Coast elite that thought they were a little smarter than we were in Missouri.
They always think they're smarter.
But I think we proved that they're not that way. And I'm telling you, Andrew Bailey, you know, a veteran, a war hero, family man, started very humble beginnings.
Yeah.
He didn't have no silver spoons in his life. You know, he's just worked hard all his life. And I got to see him personally as my general counsel, and I thought...
I'm not sure until you named him, he ever had any thoughts he'd ever be Attorney General.
He had no thoughts of being Attorney General. I called him for service and made him promise to me he's going to stay there for 8 years. So he's got to stay there, so I'm going to hold him to that.
You're going to have to come back to town, make sure he's still in the office, right?
I'll make sure he's there. I'll make sure they're all there doing their job.
You've had one of the greatest terms in the history of this state. What are you more proud of? The tax cuts, rebuilding I-70, ending abortion in the state?
All of it. All of it for thinking I'm just helping the everyday person. It'll be my biggest accomplishment I make, I think, when I leave. I just really wanted to go in there and try to help everyday people and remember that being governor of the state of Missouri is never about your last name. It's about the governor's office and who it is you represent.
It's true, but it must feel good. I mean, there's a lot of folks that you could say a caretaker governor that came in and saw the state through some tough times. You left an amazing mark on the state of Missouri.
Scott, cut taxes 5 times. There's no governor in our state's history ever done that. And all that did is put money back into people's pocket. And it generated more revenue for the state than we've ever seen. To draw unemployment to its lowest level in our state's history. To be able to do things like that. To pick 45% of the judiciary.
Yeah.
And the majority of the Supreme Court. I mean, it's things like that you never get an opportunity to do. And needless to say, I-70 making that 6 lanes,
Man,
that will be the model for the United States. And someday I'm going to get to tell my grandkids, and I'm going to drive on that and say, this is one thing that we did get done when I was governor.
well, I'm going to be able to say someday I'll be able to drive past that Marshall exit and it won't be bumper-to-bumper traffic, right?
That's exactly right.
You'll be able to go to the Chiefs games, and you'll actually be able to get there in the time you should instead of having to sit on 70 forever.
Yeah, well, that's the whole intention, to make it a little better for people, a little safer for people. But it's been a great run. What a great run I have. What are so many people around me, so many talented people on my staff. I will never be able to thank the people that's went through civil unrest, COVID, droughts, floods, train derailments, chemical spills. I will never have the opportunity to tell all those people that's been with me every day how much I really appreciate them.
I think it matters when you're going through those tumultuous times to see a steady hand at the ship. You see somebody that's not being radical one way or the other, just a steady hand at a time of turmoil. I think no maybe more than COVID. I mean, could you ever thought when you filed for office you'd be governor during a time with a pandemic and what that was like?
And plus run for office in the middle of a pandemic, let alone try to run the place. But you know, it all goes back to our roots, Scott, as you well know. It goes back how you was grown, how you was raised. It's about faith, and it's about family, and it's about freedom. And you put those things at the forefront above everything else. And you've got to let people make decisions for themselves. Government has no place of trying to regulate things in your home, telling you where you can go, where you can't go. People can make their own decisions. You just got to let them do them, and you got to trust them. And that's what we try to do.
So you got a few months left, but what are you going to do? Does Teresa, the First Lady, does she have a plan for you guys in January?
I'm not sure she's coming home with me. I'm not sure she's not going to stay, but no, we just want to go home.
Kehoe's lucky she didn't run.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, it would, but we just want to go home. We want to spend some time with the family and the grandkids. And I've never not had a job my entire life. I haven't done anything. I just want to wake up that one morning and just realize that, hey, I don't have to be anywhere today. I don't really have to do anything. I just want to know what that feeling's like.
I kind of doubt that sticks. I'm a little pessimistic you stay on the unemployment line very long.
Yeah, I don't think I will. Everybody's saying what you're saying, so I'm not sure I'm geared that way either.
But it might be nice for a week or two.
One day,
right?
one day. Give me one day.
That might be the nice thing.
One day. Yeah.
Tell me about the fair. It's such, in my mind, it's hard to distinguish you and the fair. What's your favorite part about the fair?
Oh my gosh, seeing kids walking around out here with seeing stuff, looking up at buildings, seeing them at events, seeing the livestock shows, seeing kids that's worked for an entire year as much as 10 years old, and they're here for this big day for them, and to see the smiles on their faces, whether they win or lose, they got to be in the big show, and I think just the people around the state fair is a perfect example of who Missouri is.
I was at the ham breakfast today, and I ran into a lady named Becky from Springfield. She brought her daughter, who has some challenges, but she was bringing her pig up to the Unlimited, showing it too. Yeah. And the look of pride on the parent's face was nice. As a parent myself, I get it. The look of pride on that little girl's face and bringing her pig to the fair, you really, it's hard to capture that, and you just don't get to see that in life very often.
You can't see it, and that's why the state fair is so special. We get to showcase, I believe, the heart and soul of Missouri when we're at the state fair. We get to showcase all the activities and all the events, and people just get to have a good time. It's just family entertainment. Everybody's happy to be at the state fair.
I mean, we're out here on the Midway, and you can hear country music. You can hear, I'm not sure kind of music, but it's not country. See the tractors going by and the folks. It is a relaxed atmosphere where folks can take a minute before school starts and enjoy themselves with their family.
Oh yeah.
Gussie likes the corn dogs.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, you're between me and ice cream, so we're going to have to wrap this thing up pretty quick because the sun's getting hot, and I got my brothers with me today, so I got to give them a little ice cream here shortly.
Governor Mike Parson, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Always appreciate your friendship.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with Lieutenant Governor and the Republican nominee for governor this fall, Mike Kehoe.
For more than a century, the St. Louis Carpenters Union has shaped our communities. Through trusted alliances, we deliver skilled professional craftspeople while our business partners provide the kind of quality jobs that keep our economy humming. It's a blueprint that has worked since 1882. Turning Missouri into a right-to-work state stalls progress, wipes out jobs, and kills momentum. Right to work is wrong for everyone. Let's keep Missouri moving forward. Visit carpdc.org to learn more.
You know, Missouri farmers have been doing what's best for their land for generations. After all, no one knows what it takes to feed and fuel a growing global population better than they do. So why are trial lawyers threatening Missouri farmers' best defense against weeds? Our farmers don't need to be controlled. They need to be supported. Keep glyphosate in our state. Show your support at TakeControlMissouri.com. Paid for by Modern Ag Alliance in support of Missouri farmers.
Data captured by our state-of-the-art monitors helps us pinpoint the timing and location of severe weather more accurately and respond to trouble more quickly. Ameren Missouri's investment in smart technologies like this is one way we're improving reliability and restoring power faster than ever. Responding to trouble before trouble hits. That's energy at work. Ameren, Missouri.
We are here at the State Fair with United States Senator Eric Schmitt. That's a cool way to get introduced. It's still got to be cool to be introduced that way.
It's pretty cool. It's only second to being starting center fielder for the St. Louis Cardinals, but I'll take it.
Willie McGee's always going to have one up on you.
I met Willie McGee, by the way.
I saw the picture.
The Cardinals were in D.C., and I got to go down the field, and I was talking to some guy, like, and the press guy's like, who would you like to talk to? And I'm like, can I see Willie? And he's like, I don't know. Like he came over, and they tell you never meet your heroes. They've never met Willie McGee. He's awesome.
Like meeting Zelensky or Putin or whatever, that's nice.
Yeah.
Willie McGee's awesome.
He is so like everything you imagine, super humble. He actually, I grew up in Bridgeton, as you know. He had a condo in Bridgeton in the 80s when I was growing up. So there's always these legends of Willie McGee sightings around town. And so I asked him, like, were you at the batting cages in Creve Coeur? Like, did you go down there? He's like, yeah, I'd go down there every once in a while. It was like, anyway, it's a great guy.
So how's everything in the Senate? I'd like to see you brought home some money for the defense industry in St. Louis.
Yeah, I think, honestly, with NGA West there, the Taylor Institute, we got a real shot of St. Louis being the defense tech hub of the United States. And those are jobs of the future. And by the way, they're not just like PhD jobs. They're like kids coming out of high school who want to do something with geography. It's a game changer, gets overused, but it has an opportunity to, I think, kind of transform the state.
So what's your favorite part of the fair?
I think the food, honestly, and reconnecting with people that you see. I don't know, you see them a couple times a year, but seeing people here in the setting here, it's much more relaxed.
Yeah.
And people are kind of able to just kind of let their guard down a little bit more. And so I've been coming here for years. And also there's kind of for me, like almost an ancestral pull here. My family was from Tipton and Pilot Grove. So being in mid-Missouri, I think about, my grandparents, my great-grandparents. So anyway, it's a lot of fun.
So the ticket this fall, that's a lot of folks you know very well.
Yeah.
A couple folks you endorsed.
Yeah. Listen, we're entering this stage now where you got a bunch of choices in primaries on the Republican side. When I was running statewide for the first time, it was starting to change, and now that it's become such a red state, people got a lot of options, but they're all great candidates, and I'm confident they're all going to be successful in November. And also, they get to put their own stamp on what their tenure looks like in those executive offices, which is kind of fun to watch.
Senator Schmitt, very good to see you at the fair.
See you, buddy.
Thanks so
all
much.
Right, see you.
Welcome back this week in Missouri Politics from the Missouri State Fair, the happiest midway in Missouri. We are now joined by the Lieutenant Governor, but maybe more importantly, the Republican nominee for governor, Mike Kehoe. Congratulations on your win.
Well, thank you for having me here, and thank you for showcasing a fantastic event for Missouri families.
It is a terrific place. You come here and you just come off a grueling 2-year campaign.
It was
you
a long
come
time.
Here, everybody's happy. It takes a lot of the politics out of it.
Yeah, it's really good for people to come and see what farm families go through in order to put that product on somebody's table. and people are having a good time. Kids are displaying their animals. FFA, 4-H projects are going on in the project building. It's just everybody's in a good mood. The weather's been good. The fair attendance has been great.
So tell me about the campaign. I mean, it was nice to see candidates up and down the ballot. The voters rewarded folks that actually went out and actually met folks, went to all parts of the state. Nobody did that more than you.
Well, we said we're coming to you, Missouri, because I think it's most important to come to their backyard, to their family farms, on their factory floor, tell them who we are, what our vision is for the state, and create some energy behind our campaign. We really felt like we had the momentum going into it the last couple of weeks of the campaign, and fortunate for us that Missourians thought the same thing.
It was an incredible campaign, not just the stops you made or the crowds you drew, the people that cut a check to your campaign, the endorsements you had. It had to be a little humbling, even going into, maybe even a little scary going into Election Day in a tight race.
Look, as you know, as good as anybody, from my very humble roots in North St. Louis City, to have this many thousands of Missourians investing in our campaign, 3-to-1 more than the entire rest of the field, and then 27 endorsements, we would not have won without our endorsement organizations. They were all in.
Your PAC is named the American Dream PAC. I actually took my son up to the park that was near where you grew up. But when you think about the American dream, there's a lot of folks that grew up on gravel roads that never think they could be governor.
Yeah.
Your story is an incredible one. What would you say to a young man that maybe his expectations aren't that high because he grew up in a place like you did, or he grew up at the end of a gravel road, and maybe the thought of achieving an office like you're on the precipice of achieving is just not in the realm of possibility?
Well, what we need to tell kids of all generations, no matter if they're from that gravel road or they're from a urban jungle, the word hope. There is such a thing in this country still, that if you want to work hard, you can get anywhere you want to go. And that's what our campaign was all about. We said we're going to work as hard as we can. We're not leaving anything on the field. We're getting it all with us. That's what we did, and that's what we want those young men and women who have a future in front of them to know. This country, this state provides hope and opportunity, and anybody who wants to set their mind to it, they can do anything they want to do.
So looking forward to the fall. You're leading the ticket in Missouri. You have Wassinger, Bailey, Vivek, Malik. Some of those folks know. Tell folks about that Attorney General that had a big night with you last week.
Oh man, Attorney General Bailey. Well, Andrew's not only a good friend of mine, he's a good friend of Missourians.
Yep.
He is a true Missouri son that has sacrificed his freedoms to give you and I our freedoms. As an Army tank commander, foster parent, him and his wife have been great parents to these kids who didn't have a choice anywhere else. And besides all that, he's a dang smart attorney.
Yeah.
And so I was really happy for Andrew Bailey. He's a great person. Missourians are going to love him continuing to defend our rights, keeping us out of these crazy people like Kim Gardner, et cetera. Andrew Bailey deserved it, and he won it.
So the message, I assume you'll be out on the trail again this fall with some state Senate candidates, some state rep candidates on the ticket. What is your message to the folks of Missouri, why they should give you another supermajority in the legislature?
I think you've seen the future that Governor Parson laid the foundation for. We have a lot of opportunities in front of our state right now. Now it's time to kind of hit that ball off the plastic tee. We believe that we have the right recipe to do that. We're going to work with House and Senate leadership, as well as the rest of the delegation, both our federal delegation and our Republican elected delegations in the House and Senate, to make sure that we give opportunities for Missourians by lowering their taxes, getting our arms around crimes, increasing our agriculture future, and giving education opportunities for all Missourians. Missourians like that message in the primary. That's the message we're going to go forward with in the general.
You mentioned Mike Parson. You were at the ham breakfast today. We're taping this at the state fair, the day of the ham breakfast. It was a wonderful thing. Whatever your politics are, whatever your views of the governor, to see so many people, an outpouring of love for him and his wife. I thought it was almost like a big hug in that room.
The applause didn't stop. Did you notice that? It was unbelievable. They just kept going and people kept screaming. And what was really cool is just a few minutes after that, Scott, they dedicated the new multi-purpose facility here in the fairgrounds and named it the Governor Mike Parson Building. He was surprised. I knew he was surprised. I had an inkling it was coming. I was sitting with his two brothers. They were shocked. You don't get to surprise the old sheriff very much. And doing that today and seeing his emotion was unbelievable.
He reached out to you to ask him to be the lieutenant governor. The two of you together cut taxes, you've ended abortion, you've rebuilt I-70. It has been an amazing partnership the two of you have had. School choice. I think so many of those wins, well, he's the governor, and when you're the quarterback, get the credit. I've watched you in and out of offices, asking people to join in on your vision. It's been a partnership that has really remade Missouri.
And as Coach Drinkowitz would say, why stop now? And so we've got a great start going. Governor Parson believed in me and gave me that shot. I'm not going to let him down. Missourians aren't going to let him down. Our future's the brightest. It's still ahead of us.
You mentioned the applause for Governor Parson today. It was incredible. To me, the lasting memory I have of the campaign you just won, the day before the election at the Farm Bureau building in Jefferson City, the applause before you even could say a word wouldn't stop. There was a true, it wasn't just somebody's going to vote for you. It wasn't just that somebody believed in your ideals or whatever. There was an admiration in that building of respect. I'll never forget that day. It made me less surprised by what happened the next day. Talk about the relationship you have with rural Missouri.
Well, that was one of the most humbling experiences on the campaign. That was Stop 231, by the way. Our relationship with rural Missouri has become very genuine. And as you know, I'm from North St. Louis City. I'm a first-generation farmer. I didn't know a horse from a cow when I was growing up. But rural Missouri, way before politics, in my business career and our personal career, took us in as that first-generation farmer and really helped us get established. And you've heard me say many times, I learned from the agriculture community and from rural Missouri than I have anywhere else in life. And it was just incredibly humbling to have that kind of reception at Missouri Farm Bureau.
When you look at those election results, the Springfield media market, the Joplin, the Poplar Bluff media market, Hannibal, Kirksville, St. Joseph, Central Missouri, obviously, where you're from. I'm not going to say St. Louis didn't, but I mean, you know, we're not one to judge, but it is a very unique relationship. And I think you saw it with the endorsements, not just that they came to you, they came in a primary, they came early. There is a special affinity and love I think this state has, especially when you get on a dirt road for Mike Kehoe.
I think people appreciate somebody who started with very little, almost nothing, and worked hard to where they've gotten. Nobody gave me anything. I didn't have a famous name. I didn't have a war chest of personal funds or anything. Missouri's invested in us. They love that message. And truly, I think they wish the same thing for their kids and grandkids, that they have the opportunity to do whatever they want here in the state. And when that story is real and I'm going out talking to people face to face, they seem very much to react positively to it.
Let's talk about, you can't do the campaign you did with all the stops, with all the organization, with that amazing staff. I really think your staff, from Gabby, who I work with, to Derek Coates, I mean, you had an incredible campaign team to pull off just the logistics of that campaign.
I don't know why they stuck with me because our schedule was crazy. But I'm really proud of the folks who got me here. As you know, in any business career, anything I've ever done, I've always said it's the people around me who made me better. And certainly our campaign staff just hit it out of the park. They never gave up, even when we had tough times, tough stories, tough attacks. They never gave up. I said, let's keep focusing on August 6th. We all focus on August 6th, and I'm very proud of what they've done.
Talk about some of those attacks. The Washington folks came for Andrew Bailey, but those East Coast folks came for you.
Yeah, they did.
Tried to tie you to Mike Parson. I don't think tying you to Mike Parson in the state of Missouri was necessarily as negative as they thought it would be.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be tied to Governor Parson, to be honest with you, as you know. And they came after me over $3 million they spent trying to buy the election for somebody else. And unfortunately, it didn't work for them. We just focused on what we knew best, and we knew best how to deliver to Missourians and tell them what the future looked like.
What's your favorite part of the state fair?
Well, I love the exhibits. I'm a horse guy, so I love any of the horse shows. Draft horses are here today. Clydesdales are here, by the way.
Oh, I saw them yesterday morning.
My favorite part is Claudia and I have a routine in the mornings. We'll do it again tomorrow morning. We walk about 6 or 6:30 for the first couple hours of the fair. And seeing these kids get their animals cleaned up, washing them down, having their parents tell them what to do, sometimes their grandparents, their pride in their face, trying to handle that animal, getting ready for the fair. Early in the morning, sun coming up, you can't beat what you see.
And I've seen you here bring out the flag on the horse ride and done the carriage rides. For a politician, that's a high-risk maneuver, right?
By the way, I won the draft horse show, and really, Brian Munslinger's mad about that to this day.
But if that goes bad, that video never quits getting played.
You better hope it doesn't go bad. So it's high risk. Campaign people, you mentioned Gabby earlier, she probably takes a big gulp when I come out with a horse and a flag, but it's worked out.
So the fall, you won't have to share that Trump endorsement in the fall, I don't reckon, right?
We're not sharing the Trump endorsement in the fall. President was nice enough to call me the election night. We had a great conversation. I will never forget the conversation. And you know, it was more than just one of these, hey, congratulations, I'll see you later. It was engaging. He was asking me questions. I was answering, oh yeah, tell me a little bit more about that. I was proud to have the president's endorsement. He knows what a conservative businessman can do for government. And he assured me that he's there for me, and I assured him Missouri's going to be there for him.
Boy, it just feels like there's not much Trump can do wrong in Missouri.
Oh, no. Well, look at what's happening in this crazy federal, world that they're doing these wide open borders, the amount of Chinese deadly fentanyl that's coming across our borders, inflation, all the things that Harris and Biden have brought to us have come to fruition in a bad way. Donald Trump is absolutely the only choice we can have, and Missouri's going to carry him huge.
You talked about the border. What can you actually do when you're in office to impact the border or to impact illegal folks coming to Missouri?
Just this week, I met with Governor Greg Abbott, which was an incredible experience, by the way. And he thanked Missouri for being one of the states that came down and helped him. He has cut down on the amount of crossings by tenfold. It's just unbelievable what he's done with the help of a lot of other states. So we hope that Donald J. Trump, and pray Donald J. Trump becomes our president. He knows how to lock the border down. He'll get that down. If for some reason, and I hope it doesn't happen, we'll continue to work with Governor Abbott and other governors who want to shut the border down, make sure those folks are not coming into Missouri.
Tell folks about your opponent this fall, Crystal Quaid. What's the differences between you and her?
Well, I know Crystal very well. She served in the House, obviously. I've known her for a long time. We understand each other as people. We probably agree on nothing politically. And Crystal is part of the Democrats who think that, government can solve all your problems, and I don't. I think government creates problems. I think Missourians are pretty smart. We have to have government stay out of Missourians' life, give them the opportunity, maybe a hand up, but definitely not a hand out. Missourians can make it on their own. I just want to facilitate that kind of environment.
It feels like it's got the chance to be a race where you do talk about issues, and it's not just the personal attacks that most of these races devolve down into. It does feel like you two could actually debate issues in the future of the state.
I think you mentioned it earlier, education reform, opportunities for education, so Missourians and families can actually choose a place where they think their childhood is getting the right curriculum and education. Certainly that's something I'm in favor of. I don't think most people on the other side of the aisle favor that. And like I said, economic prosperity. We're not going to grow our state and grow our economy unless we continue to cut taxes. And we have a plan that we think is very solid that will eventually eliminate the state income tax. Putting money back in Missourians' pockets is better any day than letting a bureaucrat spend it.
I cannot end this interview, or more probably go back home, without a shout out to the Boyerosa and Steve and Patty Boyers.
Unbelievable. They had a fireworks display, for goodness sakes. Butler County has been incredibly good to me. You know most of those people, whether it's Robbie Myers or Steve and Patty Boyers, who are like family to us now. That's what happened all across Missouri as people would meet, mainly Claudia, as you would imagine.
Well, that makes sense.
They really fell in love with us. We fell in love with them. And then they put their heart and soul into helping us win this campaign. Steve and Patty are awesome people, and we're just blessed to have them on our side.
Governor Kehoe, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for being at the State Fair.
It's always a pleasure to be right here at the Missouri State Fair. We will see you next year at the State Fair again, and we'll see you next week here for This Week in Missouri Politics.
This Week in Missouri Politics is sponsored by the Missouri Automobile Dealers Association, Ameren, Spire, and the United Electric Cooperative.